Picture this. The year is 1971, and the world is on the brink of a technological revolution. The first microprocessor, the Intel 4004, has just been introduced. The size of a fingernail, boasting a whopping 2,300 transistors, it was a game changer. It powered calculators, printers, and even some of the early arcade games. This little dynamo was not just a technological powerhouse, it was the spark that ignited the personal computer era. Just a year later, in 1972, the Intel 8008 was introduced, a chip that was twice as powerful. It was an 8-bit microprocessor capable of handling 16 times more memory than the 4004. It found its place in everything from traffic light controllers to the first computer terminal. With these two chips, Intel had begun to make its mark on the world, but they were far from the only players in the game. Enter 1974, a year that saw the emergence of two new contenders, the Motorola 6800 and the Intel 8080. The Motorola 6800, a robust 8-bit processor, was designed with simplicity in mind, making it a favorite among engineers and hobbyists alike. On the other hand, the Intel 8080, also an 8-bit microprocessor, was more complex but packed a punch with its speed and capability. The rivalry between these two was fierce, each pushing the other to innovate and improve. This competition set the stage for another player, the Zilog Z80. Inspired by the Intel 8080, the Z80 was a powerhouse in its own right. It enhanced the design of its predecessor, offering extended instructions, more registers, and full static design. It was a game changer, making computing more accessible to the masses. The Z80, with its enhanced capabilities, had a significant impact on the home computer market, but the evolution of processors was far from over. As the 70s came to a close, the world of processors was about to be shaken up once again, this time by the introduction of the 16-bit era. This seismic shift was driven by two groundbreaking processors, the Motorola 68000 and the Intel 8086. The Motorola 68000, launched in 1979, was a true game changer. It was one of the first microprocessors to use a 16-bit data bus, effectively doubling the amount of data that could be processed at any given time. Meanwhile, the Intel 8086, released a year earlier in 1978, was also making waves. It introduced the x86 architecture, which is still used in most of today's personal computers. These two processors didn't just revolutionize the capabilities of personal computers, they also paved the way for the software and hardware innovations that followed. The introduction of 16-bit processors not only brought about a new era in personal computing, but also set the stage for the technological advancements we see today. From the Intel 4004 in 1971 to the Intel 8086 in 1978, the evolution of processors has been a journey of innovation and competition. This evolution has not only been a technological race, but a transformative saga that defined the very fabric of the personal computer industry. Let's rewind to the early 70s, when Intel introduced the 4004, a groundbreaking chip that was the first commercially available microprocessor. It was a humble beginning, but a significant one, as it opened the gates to a new era of technology. Next came the Intel 8008 in 1972, a chip that doubled the processing power of its predecessor. This was quickly followed by the introduction of the Motorola 6800 in 1974, a processor that introduced us to the concept of microprogramming, and the Intel 8080, a chip that set the standard for the microprocessors to come. The real game changer, however, was the Zilog Z80 in 1976. This chip was not only faster and more efficient than its predecessors, but it also boasted a larger instruction set, paving the way for more complex software and applications. As the decade neared its end, the Motorola 68000 arrived, a processor that brought us into the realm of 16-bit computing, and the Intel 8086, a chip that would eventually become the heart of the first IBM PC. These processors were more than just upgrades. They were leaps in technology, offering vastly superior performance and capabilities. These advancements in processors have been instrumental in shaping the personal computer industry. They have not only made computers more powerful and efficient, but also more accessible. paving the way for the widespread use of personal computers. The impact of these chips can still be felt today, as they laid the foundation for the advanced technology we now take for granted. From smartphones to supercomputers, the influence of these early processors is evident in every corner of our digital world. As we reflect on the golden era of personal computers, it's clear to see that these chips were more than just processors. They were the building blocks of the technology that shapes our world today.